guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome to my channel. It's Monday morning and it's back to work. I took the weekend off, but if you have been waiting for some tea, I've got some for you courtesy of the Duggars. Now, last week the Duggars were at the family conference for the Institute of Basic Life Principles, which is a annual event hosted by the Institute of Basic Life Principles, which is the organization they are heavily involved with, and they are probably one of the more prominent families that are a part of this CULT. Now, at this event, they spoke about a couple different things. One was about their family getting through adversity, which I did a video about last week where we talked about how Michelle shared this list of things that she has her children that she implements into her house, and one of those was that you shouldn't slander or gossip, which we believe had something to do with Derek Dillard and the fact that he has been saying things to gossip magazines and to gossip columnists or gossip YouTubers like me, and she said that slander was the truth, which it's not actually the truth at all. But they also talked about service. So one of the things that we know about Jim Bob Duggar is that he was a two-time state representative in the state of Arkansas, and it was at that time that he also ran for an unsuccessful trip into the U.S. Senate, which he lost. And Jim Bob has not ever given up really on his family desire to be in the spotlight in the political world. Now, Jim Bob was twice a House of Representative. He was a Republican. And at the conference, he actually talked about how he made the decision to run for office and some of the things that he wanted to do with making a difference. Now, obviously, with their belief system, we're going to know that certain things are going to be important to them, things that I don't want to talk about. But, he referenced at this event, there was just specific issues related to, conception and to homeschooling and all of the things, and like taxes that he and his family just wanted to be able to have more of a say in. And so he actually talked about his own choice to run for office, which I found was kind of funny. And he said that God actually told him to run for office, not in those words, but basically in those words. He said that he had learned about all these different things related to political things, and he realized that he needed to get into the service because he wanted to make a difference and stop certain things that were going on. And he said that when he started to think about it, he did this praying. He was doing some praying, and then he said that he spoke to God and told him that if you flip a coin 3 times and it lands on heads 3 times in a row, that is a sign from God that you should run for office. Now, I don't know that God actually makes deals like that with people where if you do something 3 times, then that means God's talking to you. I don't know that there's actually a direct connection between you and God and him controlling what's on a penny, but that's what he claims is the reason why he ran for office. Then he also claimed that it was the scariest time of his life. Okay, so think of this as in the context of the whole world, right? He has gone through some really, 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 really significant things in his life, partly due to his oldest son, Josh. Josh got in trouble for, all that stuff related to his sisters and to an unnamed person that was not related to them. And then there was all the stuff that came out about Ashley Madison and all the stuff that came out about, the different people that have made accusations against Josh. And he says that the scariest time in his life was running for office. Think about that. Running for office was scarier to him than what happened to his daughters or what Josh put his daughters through or dealing with the aftermath of Josh. Seriously? Okay, now he didn't say that, but I mean, when you put that out like it's one of the scariest moments of your life and you have all of these things in your background, well, why don't you just take a look?
Anyway, I'd heard someone share one time that sometimes you come to a fork in the road that you have to know for sure to make the right decision. And anyway, this godly man shared one time that this isn't a gimmick, this isn't something you do on a regular basis, but sometimes you've got to know for sure that this is what God wants you to do. And he talked about casting lots, and I don't recommend doing this as anything. Just this is like the last resort after you've prayed, fasted, sought counsel, everything. But you've got to know for sure this is what God wants you to do. And so that Sunday morning, I said, God, I'm willing to run for office. but I've got to know for sure. And I said, God, I'm gonna flip this penny 3 times in a row. And I said, if you want me to run for state representative, I pray it would be heads 3 times in a row. Well, I flipped it once, it was heads. I flipped it twice, it was heads. And I flipped it the 3rd time, and it was heads. And I said, God, I will run. You've made this clear to me. And so I was scared to death, though. And so I went and told Michelle, and we prayed together again. And it was the scariest time of my life, just about. But
Okay. So Jim Bob is, he's got a pipeline to God, which, some people who are Christian feel like they can have a direct relationship with God and that God speaks to them through different signs, which he wouldn't be the first Christian to feel that way. And I'm not going to knock someone for that, but I just find it sort of odd that, he would say that a penny being flipped 3 times is a sign. And then he also talked about how, somebody else was running for office and they had to drop out. And so he also felt that God was telling him again that he needed to run for office because that person fell out. So then at the very end of this, he talked about how Jed was going to be running for office for the same seat in which he's in. And he's sort of instilled this incentive to serve with everything with the family. So
and just like we volunteered that first time for that first campaign, it educates you on the how things are done. Jed went and he volunteered for a state senator, or a guy that was a state rep, and went down and served at the Capitol, and was kind of would help him run errands and do whatever he needed to do. And then he became his campaign manager for a state Senate seat, and they ran against an incumbent and won. And now, of course, Jed's running for a state rep himself. And but pray about it. A lot of times people are fearful to run for office or get involved, but it's really not that difficult.
Family. So they talked about how Jed had prayed about, him wanting to run for office, and he felt that God had moved him to run for office. Now, Jed is actually running for the seat that his dad held almost 20 years ago, and he is going to be going up against a Democratic incumbent that has a very strong possibility of winning. And given the status of the economic world right now and everything that's been going on, there's a lot of people saying that it's not going to be a good fall for Republicans. And so again, don't have a stake in that claim. I'm just saying that's kind of what's been going on in the polls and what's been going on in the overall wider news. So I don't know if the Democrat has a good history or a good track record, and that area is highly Democratic. So I don't know that he'll actually win, but he's going to try. He's 21, which is the minimum age, by the way, that you can actually run for office. And it's interesting because Jed also has very limited experience. Now, they did say that he has volunteered on a couple people's campaigns and done some volunteering up at the Capitol, but I don't necessarily know that that's, qualifies him to run for office. He's a small business owner, I'll give him that, but Jed also does not have any college experience. Not that that's a requirement, but generally people that are in Congress or state representatives typically will have a 4-year degree, and many have actually advanced degrees. In fact, in my area, my state representative for the House of Representatives in Minnesota, he's actually a lawyer. So it's not common typically for people without college degrees to run for office. And generally it's because of the whole aspect of needing to have a very wide educational understanding of law. So that's where they're at right now. Jim Bob's scariest time of his life was running for office, and it was not what Josh Duggar did to his daughters. What are your thoughts about this? Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.